How's it going, guys? Nation here. Today I'm going to be showing you guys the best settings you can get in Fortnite. So here we are in Fortnite, and we're going to be changing and showing you guys the best settings you can possibly get. So let's go to the top, go to settings, obviously. And the first thing we see here is a window mode. So you might want to keep this on full screen. It really helps out with the FPS. And either way, in my opinion, I feel like it's the only way you can really play the game, with the whole screen filled with the game, obviously. I can't really play with the borders on the bottom or anything like that, so that's just my opinion. And yeah, so display resolution is pretty easy. Just put whatever your monitor is. Usually now monitors are 1080p, so you choose 1920 by 1080, but you could have a 720p monitor, so obviously choose that. And then from the frame rate limit, this really depends on your monitor and its refresh rate. So my refresh rate for my monitor is 144 hertz. That's because my monitor is a gaming monitor, you know. But people usually have a 60 hertz monitor, so you might want to keep it on 60 FPS. And the main reason all these hertz and FPS for the monitors is the hertz is basically the refresh rate of the whatever the monitor can read. So let's say there's 60 FPS going, you're pumping out, let's say 100 FPS, but your monitor is only a 60 hertz one. It can only refresh 60 of those frames per, I think it's every millisecond or something. So basically you're only reading 60 FPS instead of the full 100 FPS you're probably pumping out. So I just keep this on whatever my monitor's refresh rate is, which is 144 hertz. You can go more in depth. There's a lot of videos and information about hertz and stuff for monitors. But from what I know, I just match it up with whatever my monitor is, which is 144 hertz. So for the quality, we're not going to touch that. Resolution, make sure it's all the way to 100. I don't know why else you would have it lower, but make sure it's to 100. And then for the view distance, for me, this is like the #1 priority setting to have on Epic. Just because everyone is on Epic, and let's say you're on either medium or near, the other people are going to see you before you see them. And that puts you at a big disadvantage, I feel. So always have this on Epic no matter what. Just so no matter what, you're never at a disadvantage. And then for shadows aren't really that important. It just gives it a nice effect to, I don't know, the shade and stuff. So you can have that on off. And as you can see, it doesn't really affect the character that much. We'll be going back and forth. So we have it on Epic. You can see that the shadows, they're a little darker, you know, but there's no big difference. So we can turn that off all the way. And for anti-aliasing, this is the thing that puts the biggest load on the graphics card, especially if you have a budget graphics card or something, or an old graphics card, you know. This is the thing that the most FPS if you turn it off. So, but it also is the most noticeable out of all of them. So, as you can see, we're having on Epic. You guys saw it, and then on off, you can see that these little jaggedy lines on the edge aren't as smooth. But it's not that big of a deal, in my opinion. It's livable with, and if you're not getting enough frames, this is the #1 thing you should turn off. And then for textures and effects, these aren't really that important. Like load wise, so you can have these on high or Epic depending if you want you know, the game to still look nice, but you can turn these on medium or low if you want a slight FPS boost. And then for post-processing, you might want to keep this on low, just because this is also one of the things that has the heaviest load on the graphics card. So post-processing and anti-aliasing should be turned off in case you have a really budget PC, just because they have such a big load on the graphics card. And for VSync, turn that off. And then motion blur, turn that off. It's really pointless because whenever you turn, it just blurs your screen a bit. It does give like a cool effect, I guess you could say, but competitive wise, it just blurs your screen, and you don't want your screen to be blurred while you're trying to shoot somebody, you know. So show FPS, you can have this on or off depending if you want to see your FPS and stay updated with it. This doesn't affect your frames at all. And so it's all personal preference if you want to see your frames, or if you don't want to have a green thing right here. allow video playback. Obviously, if you want to see your games, this you can have this on. Doesn't really affect anything as well. So that's pretty much all the settings you can. These are probably the best settings. If you are still running bad frames, I guess you could say, you could turn these textures and effects to low. But what I would recommend not to ever touch or change is the view distance, just because it's the only setting that puts you at a disadvantage, just because you can't see the people as far as other people can see you and stuff like that. So for me, always keep this on view distance on either far or epic, preferably on epic. And yeah, and here my mouse sensitivity real quick. I mean, this is all personal preference, but I like to have a low mouse sensitivity, and I always like to keep them the same, just because I don't want to have one going sideways, like one sensitivity, and going up and down the other sensitivity. And for the matchmaking region, I did make a video on this, on how to get a better connection. And I have noticed that if you keep on auto, sometimes it might want to change or something. So always keep it on your actual region. So I keep it on West right here and leave it like that. And the rest of the stuff is all personal preference. Like I said, auto open doors, auto pick up weapons, stuff like that. That's stuff you might want to determine yourself. Except for aim assist, you might want to keep that on. But other than that, that's pretty much it. I mean, the keybinds, those are also personal preference. The keybinds are also personal preference. So yeah, so I might have a separate video on that, showing my personal keybinds. But for today, we're just showing the overall best settings you could possibly have in Fortnite. So you can either get, a better frame boost or something, or just compare your settings with what other people have, So hope you guys liked the video. Like, comment, subscribe for more awesome content from me, How To Nation, and until next time, How To Nation out.